We have come to Wednesday of our journey to the cross, and after a very busy Tuesday in the life of Jesus, we find that Wednesday during Holy Week was a very quiet day. In fact, between Matthew, Mark, and Luke, we get a collective 7 verses talking about Wednesday of that week, and all those verses say pretty much the same thing. Like in Matthew chapter 26, verse 3, this is what we read. Then the chief priests and the elders of the people gathered in the palace of the high priest, whose name was Caiaphas, and plotted together in order to arrest Jesus by stealth and kill him. But they said, not during the feast, lest there be an uproar among the people. Wednesday was a day of plotting, a day of scheming. Those religious leaders had wanted Jesus to be arrested for quite some time, and they had tried multiple times to do so. They kept questioning him, hoping that he would say something wrong, that he would commit some crime, that he would declare something that was heresy or blasphemy, but he never did so. And so now when we turn to Wednesday, his popularity is continuing to grow, and so the religious leaders are growing more and more angry, and the plot to kill Jesus begins to accelerate. They don't just dislike Jesus, they despise Jesus to the point that they want him dead. And so how do we apply that to today? How do we think about what took place on that Wednesday and consider how that applies to our lives now? I think this is how. Evil will always oppose good. The prince of the power of darkness, Satan himself, will always fight against Jesus and against those who love him and those who serve him. It was on Thursday of Holy Week that Jesus said these words, John chapter 15, verse 18. If the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. As a believer, we are going to face opposition for our beliefs. As we stand up for the truths of Scripture, as we live according to the commands and the guidelines that it gives us, as we seek to serve the Lord, there are going to be those that not only disagree with us, but who oppose us and even who seek to do harm to us because of what we believe. And so when you are opposed for your faith, don't be surprised. And don't be overwhelmed. And don't think that the world's opposition means that you need to change or that you need to back down or that you need to compromise. Instead, thank God for that opposition. God inspired James to tell us that when we face trials, when we face persecution and hardship, those things strengthen our faith. It produces steadfastness in our faith because we're forced to trust in the Lord. Much like gold that is refined in fire, our faith is refined through those moments in which it is tried, those moments in which we are opposed for our faith. But in those moments of persecution, I want you to remember what Jesus also said in John chapter 16, verse 33. He says, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world. Because Jesus overcame the world, we can have peace in him. I'm reminded of what the great hymn, It Is Well, says in the second verse when we sing this. Though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let this blessed assurance control, that Christ has regarded my helpless estate and has shed his own blood for my soul. And because Christ died for me, no matter what I go through, it is well with my soul.